Most of the time, things just don't turn out to be as good as they originally sound like they would be, but in the case of foralumab, we might actually have something that we could honestly call a winner. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of You and Me and Multiple Sclerosis. My name is Pam. I've been living with MS for 40 years, and as you know, I've been following the testing and development of this compound called foralumab for quite some time. I'll post the videos that I did earlier so that you can learn more about them, but I just want to give you a quick update on the latest, which also is very good news. Not going to waste a lot of time with preamble. Let's just go ahead and look at the article together. The article appeared in Multiple Sclerosis News Today on January 29th of 2025. New immune biomarkers uncovered with foralumab treatment. Intranasal treatment modulates immune cells in non-active SPMS. They say that intranasal foralumab can modulate a number of immune cell types in people with non-active secondary progressive multiple sclerosis, a study showed, revealing new immune biomarkers that show how the therapy exerts its effects in people with the condition. After 3 months of treatment, gene activity data showed that immune cells including naive B cells, inflammatory T cells, regulatory T cells, and monocytes were affected by foralumab, developer Tiziana Life Sciences said. We are excited to announce this breakthrough in understanding how nasal foralumab induces immune modulation in secondary progressive MS patients, Tanuja Chitnis, MD, principal investigator and professor of neurology at Harvard Medical School, said in a company press release. The company didn't say whether levels increased or decreased, but noted that the immune changes were associated with a reduction in microglial brain inflammation or a reduction in the activity of brain-resident immune cells called microglia, which has been observed in these same patients in PET scans. The findings shed additional light on the immune mechanisms through which the therapy exerts its effects in people with non-active SPMS. They call this a pivotal step for treatment. These findings highlight the potential of nasal foralumab in modulating critical immune pathways and offer new insights into its clinical effects, said Chitnis. This discovery represents a pivotal step toward personalized treatment strategies for MS. We look forward to submitting these data to a peer-reviewed journal. Foralumab works by targeting the CD3 protein at the surface of immune T cells, which reduces the activity of harmful inflammatory T cells while increasing the activity of beneficial anti-inflammatory T cells known as regulatory T cells or TREGs. The drug's anti-inflammatory effect is expected to reduce multiple sclerosis inflammation, which could slow disease progression in people with non-active SPMS. Foralumab was first tested in people with non-active SPMS as part of an expanded access program. Data from the first 10 patients, all of whom had received treatment for more than 6 months, showed that 80% had a reduction in microglial activity in PET scans, an indication that brain inflammation was reduced, and 70% had less fatigue after 6 months. Boy, those both sound like really good things. None of the patients experienced a worsening in disability levels over that period, which led the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, to allow 20 more patients into the expanded access program. Before and during treatment with foralumab, researchers collected blood samples from all patients in the expanded access program. These were used to detect gene expression changes, measures of which genes are active and to what extent, during treatment to identify potential biomarkers of response to foralumab. The analysis found gene activity changes that suggests that the therapy modifies a range of immune cells, including inflammatory T cells and B cells, which are involved in MS inflammation, as well as TREGs, which can dampen the excess activity of other immune cells, but are generally faulty in MS. Monocytes, white blood cells that help to fight infections but can also contribute to MS, were also altered with foralumab. The observed clinical stabilization and microglial PET findings are supported by these new biomarker discoveries, providing compelling evidence of nasal foralumab's biological effects, said Howard Weiner, MD, a neurologist and chairman of Tiziana's Scientific Advisory Board. The identification of these biomarkers not only strengthens our understanding of the treatment's mechanism, but also establishes a framework for monitoring its efficacy in future trials and may establish a framework for monitoring a patient's response to foralumab treatment. Foralumab is also being assessed in a phase 2A clinical trial, and there's the number, that's enrolling 54 people with non-reactive SPMS who experienced at least 2 years of continuous disease progression despite treatment with available therapies. Participants will receive 2 doses of intranasal foralumab, 50 or 100 micrograms, or a placebo for 3 months. Treatment will be given in 3-week cycles consisting of sprays into each nostril 3 times a week for 2 weeks, followed by a week without treatment. As primary goals, researchers will measure the treatment's safety and confirm its ability to reduce microglial activity in PET scans over 3 months. Disability progression, a composite measure of walking ability, dexterity, cognition, and vision, and changes in fatigue, will also be assessed. Foralumab, the first fully human anti-CD3 monoclonal antibody, is in a phase 2 trial as a groundbreaking immunomodulatory therapy, with applications in autoimmune and neurodegenerative diseases. These findings further confirm its potential and set the stage for broader clinical exploration, said Ivor El-Rifi, PhD, CEO of Tiziana. Last year, the FDA granted foralumab fast-track designation, a status that aims to accelerate the development and regulatory review of experimental medicines that have the potential to fill unmet needs of patients with serious disorders. And foralumab looks like it's checking all the boxes so far, I have to say. And then, of course, there's the clinical trial that they referred to, which is open to recruit, I think, right at the very moment I'm posting this. So if you're interested in getting involved, here's some information that might be helpful for you. Here are the contacts and locations. You can see here, you got a couple different folks you can get a hold of. There's phone numbers and email addresses here. The part you really want to know about, I'm sure, are the locations. Where is this going to take place? And they said that the study has 5 locations in the United States. We have Connecticut locations, and you can see them there. The Maryland locations you can see there. There are locations in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania. So if you're in one of those locations where you can get to them pretty easily and you're interested in participating, they are recruiting at this moment. So go ahead and give it a look. They've got participation criteria that you can look through to be sure that you would be qualified to be included. Go ahead and check it out. Well, okay, if I were living in any of those states, you can bet I'd be looking into this. In the meantime, though, I'm hopeful that something is going to happen fairly soon, that we will be able to access this new therapy, because it's one of the few that actually fits me to a T, non-active secondary progressive MS, which is probably one of the least served populations in the MS community. But I know many of you fit into that as well, so you're probably as interested in this as I am. Check it out if you can and let me know if you end up in the trial. But that's all I have for you today. Like I said, I wanted to keep this short so I could get it out the door. And so in the meantime, whether you get involved in the trial or not, until I see you again in my next video, please do take really good care of yourself, and I'll see you again soon.